You are invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fills. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
Good afternoon. This is LCM TV News at Noon. We're not your normal news. I'm Pete Schiffman.
I'm Megan Berger.
And before we get into our normal national stories, we have two late-breaking stories. FIFA Soccer's world governing body re-elected Sepp Blatters as president, despite the U.S. Justice Department's indicting 14 officials on corruption charges. In addition to that, the U.S. has now removed Cuba from the terrorist list. We'll have a further update on those stories on Monday on our news show. For our first story today, the airbag recall has expanded to more car manufacturers. Takeda's expansion of their previous recalls has nearly doubled the potential number of vehicles affected to almost 34 million. Automakers are still working to verify accurate and complete lists of those vehicles. This process could take several weeks. Until the lists are complete, vehicle owners affected by the expanded recall will not be able to use their VIN to determine if their vehicle is part of this recall. As manufacturers verify their affected vehicles to the NHTSA, the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, they will provide real-time updates to their database, including lists of makes and model years affected, and notifying consumers when they begin to use the NHTSA's and manufacturers' VIN lookup tools. As this recall progresses, the NHTSA will organize and prioritize the replacement of the defective airbag inflators to ensure that defective inflators are replaced with safe ones as quickly as possible, addressing the highest risks first.
J. Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, has been charged with lying to the FBI and making cash withdrawals from banks in a way that was designed to hide that he was paying $3.5 million to someone for his misconduct from years ago, according to a federal indictment released on Thursday. Hastert, 73, the longest-serving Republican speaker, had worked as a lobbyist since leaving office. The indictment, announced by the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, said that Hastert, who was once a high school teacher and wrestling coach in Yorkville, Illinois, had so far paid $1.7 million to the person who had known Hastert for most of his or her life. In 2010, during meetings between Mr. Hastert and the unnamed individual, the two discussed past misconduct by Hastert against the person, according to the indictment. In those meetings and in later discussions, Mr. Hastert agreed to provide money to the person in order to compensate for and conceal his prior misconduct. The indictment does not provide details of the misconduct. Each of the two charges carries a penalty of as much as 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Hastert is to appear at an arraignment at a future date.
Rick Santorum, the runner-up in the Republican nomination race 4 years ago, announced his second presidential bid on Wednesday, pledging to restore a middle class hollowed out by the government policies. A former United States Senator from rural western Pennsylvania, he appealed primarily to social conservatives 4 years ago. But he has donned a new mantle of economic populism, the one he calls blue-collar conservatism. Working families don't need another president tied to big government or big money, Santorum said, criticizing Hillary Rodham Clinton and big business for pro-immigration policies he said had undercut American workers. Mr. Santorum, 57, was the surprise winner of the Iowa caucuses in 2012 thanks to evangelical Christian votes. And he went on to win 10 other states, dragging out Mitt Romney's quest for the nomination. Still, he has struggled to catch on this time around. He is in danger of not making the 10-candidate cutoff for the first Republican debate on August 6, which will be determined by standings in national polls.
Nebraska became the first conservative state in more than 40 years to abolish the death penalty on Wednesday, with lawmakers defying their Republican governor, Pete Ricketts, a staunch supporter of capital punishment who had lobbied vigorously against banning it. After more than 2 hours of emotional speeches at the Capitol, the legislature, by a 30-19 vote that was cut across party lines, overrode the governor's veto of a bill repealing the state's death penalty. After the repeal measure passed by just enough votes to overcome the veto, dozens of spectators in the balcony burst into celebration. The vote capped a month-long battle that pitted most lawmakers in the legislature against the governor, many law enforcement officials, and some family members of murder victims whose killers are now on death row. The legislature approved the repeal bill 3 times this year, each time by a veto-proof majority, before sending it to Mr. Ricketts' desk. Adding to the drama, 2 senators who had previously voted for repeal switched to support the governor at last minute. Though it is not clear that other Republican-dominated states will follow Nebraska's example, Wednesday's vote came at a time when liberals and conservatives have been finding common ground on a range of criminal justice issues in Washington and around the country.
In a move that could put pressure on its rivals to follow suit, Amazon will start paying taxes in a number of European countries where it has large operations, instead of funneling nearly all its sales through Luxembourg, a low tax haven that is the home base in the region for Amazon and many other large tech companies. Several European countries, including Germany and France, have criticized the tax strategies of some American tech companies, including Google, which uses complicated structures that sharply reduce the amount of tax they pay in individual European countries. The European Commission, the executive arm of the European Union, is also investigating whether Apple and Amazon receive unfair state support through low tax agreements in Ireland and Luxembourg, respectively, where the companies run their European operations. On May 1st, Amazon said it had started reporting revenue from its operations in Britain, Germany, Italy, and Spain. By altering how it reports its revenues, the online retailer may become liable for larger tax charges in certain nations, though it may still be able to reduce its tax burden through other complex accounting practices. Britain, Ireland, and the Netherlands have already created new policies that allow companies to apply for a lower tax rate on profits that result from certain patents that are held locally. The European Commission, however, is currently reviewing the legality of these so-called patent boxes. That's the national news, folks. We're coming up as regional, and we'll be back in a few.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
summertime.
Welcome back. In regional news, Marin County Sheriff's officials identified Thursday a man with Santa Rosa connections as the prime suspect in a fatal shooting earlier this month. They have asked the public to help authorities find him. Joseph Montgomery, 34, of Marin City, has family in Santa Rosa and other cities in the Bay Area, including Vallejo and San Jose. Investigators suspect Montgomery shot and killed Jermaine Kennedy, 34, of Richmond, on May 10th when the pair encountered one another outside of a Marin City apartment complex. Kennedy used to live in Marin City and had been living in Richmond. Montgomery, who was black, was described as 5 foot 4 inches tall and 150 pounds. Detectives suspect that the shooting was motivated by a years-old disagreement between Montgomery and Kennedy. Scardina described the men as acquaintances. Both men had attended a memorial service for a Sacramento man the morning before the late-night shooting. Scardina said that the man's death did not appear to be connected to the dispute between Montgomery and Kennedy. Witnesses told investigators that Kennedy and Montgomery had an exchange of words. Montgomery then pulled out a gun and shot Kennedy several times at close range in the abdomen. Kennedy was rushed to the hospital where he died. Anyone with information about the case can call the Marin County Sheriff Office Investigations Team at area code 415-473-7265, and anyone who wishes to remain anonymous may call Bay Area Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Callers may be eligible for a reward.
The Pentagon revealed Wednesday that live anthrax was shipped, apparently by accident, from a lab in Utah to as many as 9 states over the course of a year. Pentagon spokesman Colonel Steve Warren assured there is no known risk to the general public and said an investigation is underway. But precautions are being taken for potentially exposed workers in labs where the samples were sent. 4 people in 3 companies are being treated for post-exposure and being prescribed prophylaxis. All samples are in the process of being collected by the CDC. The material in question was described as routine research process. It was sent out to the Defense Department and commercial labs in 9 states between March 2014 and March 2015, and the shipments were supposed to include only inactive or dead anthrax when they were transferred. But a private lab in Maryland on May 22nd informed the CDC that they thought the samples contained live anthrax. The CDC then informed the Defense Department. According to the AP, the government has confirmed the Maryland lab got live spores and is suspected that others did as well, though not yet confirmed. When asked how many of the states that were sent anthrax received live samples, the defense official said that out of an abundance of caution, it is safe to assume it's all live. There is no known risk to the general public, and there are no suspected or confirmed cases of anthrax infection in potentially exposed lab workers, according to the Department of Defense. Stanford University received some of the spores and are not reporting any problems at this time.
As the 5-year anniversary of Kieran Horman's disappearance approaches, the Multnomah County Sheriff Office wants the public to know that the search for the Portland boy is still active. Horman disappeared from Skyline Elementary School in northwest Portland on June 4th of 2010. He was 7 years old. Friends and family members said last week they plan to put together another search effort this summer. On Thursday, Lieutenant Steve Alexander said the Sheriff's Office had to date received more than 4,000 tips in the case, and he said the investigation is definitely still active. The Sheriff's Office had offered a $50,000 reward for information leading to a resolution in the case. Anyone with information is asked to call the tip line at area code 503-261-2847.
Anyone who has faced the uncertainty of losing a beloved pet knows the feeling can be compounded by the stress of searching for the missing animal. Hanging posters, calling shelters, or driving around endlessly through neighborhoods are common and time-consuming strategies people use to try and track down a wayward pet. Now, facial recognition technology is part of the mix. The Napa County Animal Shelter and Adoption Center is the first in Northern California to employ Finding Rover, a mobile app and website that allows users to search for missing dogs with their smartphone or computer. Every dog that enters the shelter is registered on the site. The service combines cutting-edge technology with the power of social media to create the digital equivalent of a lost dog poster visible to potentially millions of people worldwide. The The facial recognition technology, developed by researchers at the University of Utah Software Development Center, relies on 8 distinguishing markers on dogs, with particular emphasis on the eyes and snout. Human facial recognition, by contrast, employs 128 points of reference. John Polimeno, who founded Finding Rover, claims that the technology is 98% accurate.
It could get more expensive to file a ballot initiative in California. Legislation hiking the filing fee from $200 to $8,000 passed the Assembly on a 46-24 vote Tuesday. In the background lurked a near universally condemned proposed ballot initiative that seeks to authorize the execution of homosexuals. While the measure is almost certain not to qualify, it prompted a debate about raising the fee to discourage such proposals. This reform is overdue, according to Assemblyman Evan Lowe, a Democrat from Campbell, noting that the fee has not budged since being set at its current level in 1943. But more importantly, it will deter frivolous proposals from being submitted. Republicans warn the bill would disenfranchise citizens, amplifying criticisms that California's direct democracy measures have become tools of the wealthy interests able to mount expensive campaigns. Assemblyman Tom Lackey, a Republican from Palmdale, called Assembly Bill 1100 a money grab which would make it harder for Californians to make their voices heard.
Grocery store workers could hold on to their jobs after the store changes ownership under labor-backed legislation that passed the California Assembly last Tuesday. Assembly Bill 359, which passed 42-26, bars stores from firing workers for non-performance-related reasons within 90 days of a merger or a buyout. After that grace period expires, stores would need to conduct performance reviews to help decide whether to keep the employees. When Wall Street stockbrokers conduct leveraged buyouts in the grocery industry, a high number of jobs are put at risk, said Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez, a Democrat from San Diego. Historically, these are some of the last good-paying middle-class jobs. The bill distilled the labor versus big business clash that often frames California bills. The United Food and Commercial Workers Union sponsored the bill, and the California Chamber of Commerce condemned it with a job killer label. Republicans assailed the bill for likely exposing grocery stores to lawsuits if they do not retain workers after the 90-day period ends. There is not a lawyer in this state that would not salivate at the opportunity, said Assemblyman Don Wagner, Republican from Irvine.
In addition to featuring 3 days of the best in reggae and world music around the world, the Sierra Nevada World Music Festival is the premier California festival for families. Throughout the weekend, they offer an extensive array of children's activities, including bounce houses, arts and crafts, a daily parade, fire dancers, stilters, hooping, music and dance workshops, and much, much more. Here is just a sampling of what you and your children can look forward to at the SN Sierra Nevada World Music Festival in 2015. Ashiba has been performing at the Sierra Nevada World Music Festival since 2008. Born in Trinidad and based in the Bay Area, he has been influenced by carnival and the folkloric storytelling tradition in Calypso. The Sierra Nevada World Music Festival celebration parade and celebrates the summer solstice. Folks can join in their daily parade. Kathleen and her daughter will be creating face and body painting throughout the weekend, a popular activity she has been doing for over 30 years at festivals. Check out the Kids Zone, scheduled for free face paintings and for the kids. All-day art and craft activities are also offered for the creative young souls. Join Pam and the crew for some special activities. From Los Angeles, Hanif and his 2 young boys bring drums and conduct workshops designed for the kids. Throughout the weekend, you may find them jamming in the Kids Zone. On Saturday, African Al will be mesmerizing the kids with some great animated storytelling. In addition, he donates hundreds of books to our Sierra Nevada World Music Festival youth. May Salem will be conducting special eco-friendly art and craft projects, and check out the Kids Zone schedule. Sierra Nevada World Music Festival runs from Friday, June 19th, 20th, and 21st this year. Go to SierraNevadaWorldMusicFestival.com for more information. Third World is one of the headliners, and we will have more spotlights on Sierra Nevada in upcoming newscasts. We will be right back after this.
But to me, what I learned more about of any county
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
Welcome back. In local news, as we reported on our last newscast, an investigation into the shooting death of a Lake County man whose remains were found last fall in Clear Lake Park has led to 2 arrests, and Clear Lake police said they expect to take additional people into custody in the case. The victim, Guillermo Figueroa, 36 of Hidden Valley Lake, a married father of 3, was shot once in the head. Clear Lake Police Sergeant Nick Bennett on Wednesday said detectives believe the motive for the slaying involved a large amount of marijuana money Figueroa was believed to be carrying. The State Attorney General's office has charged 2 Clear Lake residents in connection with the death. During a Lake County Superior Court hearing on Friday, Gary Williams, 30, was charged with 7 felony counts, including homicide, killing the man with robbing him, and related charges connected to the slaying. Crystal Pearls, 41, was charged with 7 felonies, including making terrorist threats, dissuading a witness, and burglary, police said. They both remain in custody at this time at the Lake County Jail, where they've been housed for about 2 months in connection with an unrelated theft of a travel trailer. They became persons of interest early in the homicide investigation, according to Bennett. Figueroa was a suspected marijuana grower who paid people to let him use their property. Police believe one of Figueroa's marijuana gardens had been ripped off, and he was known to be carrying a large amount of cash, planning to buy back the stolen plants. Figueroa's wife reported him missing in late October. During the initial investigation, a sedan registered to the missing man was found abandoned in northwest Clear Lake.
On Friday afternoon, law enforcement officers took a 30-year-old Lower Lake resident in custody on drug charges. The incident stemmed from a lengthy investigation into the travels and activities of Ulysses Moya Gomez. Throughout the month of May, detectives with the Napa Special Investigations Bureau developed information that Moya Gomez, an unemployed Lower Lake resident, was operating as a mid-level methamphetamine source supplying Napa County meth dealers. As a part of the investigation, NSIB detectives conducted surveillance on Moya as he traveled from Lake County to Napa and surrounding counties. On Friday, the detective served a search warrant at Moya Gomez's residence in the 11,000 block of Yvonne Circle in Lower Lake. After forcing entry through the fenced property, detectives encountered 10 children under the age of 12 and 6 adults on the approximately 1-acre property. The children and adults were determined to be immediate and extended family members. Detectives located approximately 2 pounds of crystal methamphetamine and evidence of sales. They searched also yielded over $13,000 in cash hidden in various locations in their bedroom. Detectives with the Lake County Sheriff Office responded and assisted in seizing the currency as suspected drug proceeds pursuant to asset forfeiture statutes. A small indoor marijuana grow was also located in an outbuilding on the property, along with a medical recommendation. No evidence of marijuana sales was located. The marijuana was not seized. Upon completion of the search warrant service and interviews, the Napa Special Investigations Bureau detectives arrested Moya Gomez, and he was transported and booked into the Lake County Jail for possession of methamphetamine for sale. The amount of methamphetamine seized, which had a wholesale value of approximately $10,000 when sold by the pound and a street value of over $54,000 when sold by the gram, was sufficient to impair approximately 9,000 people.
9,000.
I'm glad we got that guy off the street.
In an atmosphere of cooperation, community, and compromise, the Clear Lake City Council met Thursday to discuss an ordinance proposed by staff based on direction by the council to try and solve the city's cannabis-related problems. A ban was enacted by the council earlier this year, which was to become law in March. A group of citizens, with the help of the Emerald Growers Association, challenged the zero tolerance ordinance with a petition for a referendum to be put to the voters. The referendum gathered sufficient signatures to be put on the ballot, and the city was forced to go back to the previous ordinance, as they did not want to spend the money for a referendum on the ballot, which was modeled after the county urgency ordinance. This allows cultivation of 6 to 48 plants, depending upon the size of the property. After a friendly discussion, Councilmember Overton agreed with the recommendations of Sabatier, as did Vice Mayor Gina Fortuna Dixon, who stated that it would save time and allow for enforcement this season. Mayor Denise Lucelo and Russell Purdock were also in agreement and were gratified about the consensus that existed in the audience. The nodding of heads was consistent throughout the public comment section and the comments from the council members from most in attendance. After further discussion, the council voted 5-0 to place the second reading of the ordinance, with amendments, on the agenda for the next city council meeting. There was an upbeat feeling throughout the room as the citizens from both sides declared victory.
Saturday, Assemblyman Bill Dodd held his first Lake County barbecue, held at the Chasewater Vineyard in Kelseyville. He spoke to the crowd of around 200 people, mostly Democrats, and spoke to us after the event. We also spoke to Supervisor from Yolo County.
But to me, what I learned more about of any county when I was going through the election was Lake County. And Lake County is absolutely close to my heart, and the issues.
Well, I would like to see Lake County and Yolo County work really closely together to resolve any issues that are out there. We're working with Solano County now on some of the habitat issues that the state is actually forcing us to address. And part of that is about water, and we're trying to make sure that there's water, that there's agriculture, and that everybody's needs are taken care of.
To find that happy medium for all of us.
Yes, and it's a balance, because you have to balance agriculture. There's habitat projects, and there's water projects.
And with the drought, you're getting less water, I'm sure, than you have in the past, because
Yes.
our water levels just haven't been
Much
high.
less coming down.
So that
A lot
can
of farmers have
hurt
taken
agriculture.
crops out of their rotation, the fallow crops, and it could be worse next year. But we're doing the best we can.
$1 million allocation from the Assembly and roughly the same from the Senate. They're going to confer. My guess is it's going to pass. So that's about as far as you can go.
Right.
And then it goes to the governor.
Okay.
So we may need a call to action from citizens all throughout Lake
Okay.
County
Well, we'll
to
help
help
you
us,
get
and we'll
that.
let you know.
Yeah, definitely, because we'll help you get those people to stand up. We have been very active in our community, and a lot of people, when we say something, they do listen. So
Fantastic.
that's a good thing.
Well, thanks for being here. I
Yeah.
appreciate both of you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill.
so much. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You too.
I think it's about time that we started getting some recognition about how beautiful it is around here, said Kathy Steinberg, the Garden Walk Press Chair of the Clear Lake Trowel and Trellis Garden Club. To showcase the beauty away from the lake, mountains, and vineyards, the club has set up Hidden Gardens of Lake County 2015 Home Garden Tour, the first of its kind in the area. The tour takes place this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Guests can purchase a passport ticket and visit 8 gardens around Upper Lake, Lakeport, and Kelseyville. The event is a fundraiser for scholarships for 2 high school students who plan to pursue a degree in horticulture or related fields. Last year, the club gave 2 students $500 each. The rest of the funds go toward local student gardens, and there will be 7 gardens at various schools around the county, and the club plans to divide up their proceeds among them. Donating funds to school gardens could have a widespread positive impact on the county's children. Kelseyville Elementary School possesses a kids' garden, which is featured on the tour. The Hidden Gardens of Lake County 2015 Home Garden Tour is this Saturday again from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. To purchase tickets, email gardentour@clttgc.org or call 279-0192. Tickets can also be purchased the day of the event starting at 9:30 a.m. at the Lake County Wine Studio in Upper Lake, Jitter Bean Coffee Company in Lakeport, or the Kelseyville Elementary School Kids Garden.
Something positive
Yes.
for the youth.
Yes.
Cobb Mountain Elementary School fourth graders recently took home the Best in Show ribbon for the youth category at the Santa Rosa Iris Society Show. The fourth grade students from Mr. Weiss and Mrs. Ferguson's classes have been completing an iris project through the American Iris Society's CIP, Classroom Iris Project program. Members of the Santa Rosa Iris Society, Region 14, mentored Cobb School students in their third year of partnership. They paid for the students' membership dues, provided iris rhizomes to plant at the school, and have come to the school to do direct instruction. The students all know the name of their iris variety and have been nurturing and waiting patiently to see the blooms. They have created and submitted iris artwork and essays and completed classroom lessons. All are receiving certificates. The Cobb School Garden Project is a grassroots, volunteer-driven program that is funded completely by donations. The project funds a paid garden aide who brings all the students at the school to garden class every week to plant, tend, harvest, cook, and eat the garden produce. In addition, they provide fresh garden produce to the school lunch program. The school garden is certified organic by the California Department of Agriculture and has many collaborations with other farmers and local organizations such as the Mendocino Grain Project, the National Heirloom Expo, Master Gardeners, Junior Master Gardeners, Lake County SNAP Ed, East Lake Resource Conservation District, Friends of Bogs, and others. For information or to make a donation to the Cobb Elementary School Garden Project, contact Cindy Leonard at cobbschoolgarden@yahoo.com. If Lower Lake High School junior third baseman Azuri Meza ever wants to open a landscaping business, she should do well. That girl can rake. We will be back with the weather.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
Welcome back. In our local weather, today is a sunny day. It's 74 degrees. We're going to peak to a high of 81 today. And then let's see. Tomorrow is a high of 81 with a 5% chance of rain. Sunday will be a high of 75, low of 53 with a 4% chance of rain. And Monday we have a high of 71 with a low of 52 and a 13% chance of rain.
So Sunday's going to be nice?
Yes.
Good, I have a ball game. In sports, Mensa went 4 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs on Wednesday afternoon as the Lower Lake Trojans beat St. Mary's of Berkeley 5-3 in the first round of the North Coast Section Division IV softball playoffs at Lower Lake High School. The victory moves Meza and the company into the quarterfinals on Saturday against number 1 seed Marin Catholic. First pitch is at 2 p.m. at the College of Marin in Kentville. Lower Lake, who's 19-6, didn't exactly start the game the way Emberson envisioned, as the Trojans committed 2 errors on one play in the top of the first inning that allowed 2 runs to score. However, the bottom of the first couldn't have played out any better, for Emberson's squad at Lower Lake answered with 4 runs on 4 consecutive hits to push in front to stay. Winning pitcher Shelby Harris took it from there and allowed just 1 run the rest of the way. Harris allowed just 4 hits, struck out 8, walked none, and hit 1. Lower Lake's opponent on Saturday, Marin Catholic, is the Marin County Athletic League champion. They're the number 1 seed, so all the pressure's on them, Emberson said of the Wildcats. When Shelby pitches like she did today and we compete like we did today, we can hang with just about anybody. We're the underdog, so all we need to do is go down and compete. The Kelseyville Knights and Middletown Mustangs bowed out of the North Coast Section Division IV playoffs on Wednesday during the first round games. Kelseyville falling to number 2 seed Justin Siena 9-2 at Napa, and Middletown dropping a 10-0 decision in 5 innings to Moreau Catholic at Hayward. Both Lake County squads qualified as at-large teams, with Kelseyville 11-14, the number 15 seed in the 16-team baseball bracket, and Middletown 11-12, who was the number 11 seed in the 14-team softball bracket. Kelseyville tied for third in the final North Central League 1 baseball standings this season, while Middletown was fourth in the NCL 1 softball standings.
Jack Shrive was only 15 years old when he first made the trek, or rather the paddle, around the entirety of Clear Lake. It's a feat that very few have managed. Last year, the young kayaker, now 16 and a student at Middletown High School, set off from the shore with one mission in mind: preserve the lake. I decided to do it because I felt there was a need to raise awareness for the protecting of Clear Lake, he said. I felt the current initiatives weren't effective. I felt like we need something to motivate the citizens of Lake County to protect the lake directly. And this year, on June 6th, Shrive is doing it all over again. He plans his trip in 3 segments. At 8 a.m., he will depart from Rodman's Slough near Lakeport and paddle to Buckingham Point. From there, he'll take off down the Narrows, round Rattlesnake Island, and head to Windflower Point. Then, traveling south, he'll pass Monitor Island, round Indian Island, and end his journey at Highlands Park in the city of Clear Lake. He estimates he'll complete the trip at around 3:30 p.m. To prepare himself, Shrive paddles various sections of the lake in his kayak, but last year's event is the only time he's made the entire trip in one go. Shrive invites the community to join him for a segment again this year. On June 6th, Shrive will be making his trip in a yellow Necky kayak. He hopes to hang an earth flag off the boat to symbolize the meaning of the trip.
Hopefully.
The Oakland Athletics came out on the right side of a one-run game for a change. Ben Zobrist drew a bases-loaded walk from David Carpenter in the 7th inning to break a tie, and the A's rallied from a 3-run deficit to beat the New York Yankees 5-4 on Thursday night. Billy Burns and Brett Laurie homered off CC Sabathia 2-7 to start the comeback from the 3-0 hole, and the A's went on to beat the Yankees for the 10th time in their past 11 meetings in Oakland. The A's won their first one-run game at home since last September 6th, ending a 12-game skid that was the longest in franchise history. The A's were 2-15 overall in a one-run game this season, a major reason why they have the worst record, 18-32, in the American League. RHP Sonny Gray, 5-2, makes his second career start against New York's Grays, 1.77 ERA, which is the 3rd lowest by an Oakland pitcher after 10 starts in the designated hitter area.
Bell's opposite field solo home run in the 7th inning broke up a scoreless pitching duel, and the San Francisco Giants were in the 4th straight, beating the Atlanta Braves 7-0 on Thursday night. Chris Heston, 5-3, allowed 4 hits over 7 1/3 innings to win the 3rd straight decision and give the Giants 12 wins in the last 14 games. He also doubled his first career extra base hit. Hunter Pence added a 2-run triple and Joe Panik a 2-run double in a 6-run 8th inning against Brandon Cunoff to break the game open. Brandon Crawford had 2 hits and drove in a run, and Norioki added 2 hits. Giants pitchers have not allowed a run in 37 consecutive innings at home, matching a San Francisco record. Right-handed pitcher Tim Hudson makes his first start against the Braves since leaving the team for free agency. He gave up a season-high 8 runs and 6 hits in 3 2/3 innings in his last game. The Golden State Warriors, having beat the Houston Rockets in the semifinals of the NBA playoffs, now face the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. The first game is Thursday, June 4th at the Oracle Arena with a start time of 6 p.m.
And in our final word, 2 bongs which were used by tribal chiefs to get high have been discovered in Russia. These bongs are made of solid gold. Archaeologists found thick black residue in the bongs and determined that they were used to smoke cannabis and opium in a ceremonial setting. This is thought the impressive implements belonged to the Scythians, a nomadic warrior race who ruled large swaths of Europe and Asia between the 9th century BC and the 4th century AD. This means the bongs could be 2,400 years old, making them some of the oldest in existence. Several historians say the Scythians smoked and sometimes brewed a strong concoction of cannabis and opium in order to alter their state of mind before heading into battle. Famed Greek historian Herodotus, who died in 425 BC, wrote that the Scythians used a plant to produce smoke that no great Grecian vapor-bathed can surpass, which made them shout out loud. Golden cups, rings, and neck rings were also found alongside the bongs, all of which have been cleaned and now are on display in the Russian Museum. They were found by construction workers putting up power lines. Anton Gass of the Prussian Cultural Heritage Foundation in Berlin said of the find, "These are among the finest objects we know from the region."
Thank you for joining us. Our next newscast will be Monday at noon. The next live broadcast on LCN TV will be Pasha Space at 3 p.m. today. And the Bridge with Sister T simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah at 9 a.m. Saturday until noon. I'm Pete Schiffman.
I'm Megan Berger.
Have a great day.